Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number 5010-405-632. So this is a Bommer wide throw hinge, and let's dissect the part number. The 50 part of the 5010 means that it is a plain bearing 5-knuckle hinge. Just plain bearing, there's no ball bearings at all. It means it's a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame. Okay. Also means that it is the one part of the part number means that it is a wide throw hinge. That the hinge is wider than it is tall, okay? And the 0 in the part number means that you've got a steel base hinge, which is also called out in another part of the part number, but it's a steel base hinge, okay? The 405 is a reference to the size. That means that the hinge is 4 inches tall, and the height is first on a hinge like this, and 5 inches wide. You want to be sure to call out the height first, because that's the proper way hinges are called. It's opposite of how doors are typically, meaning you wouldn't call it a 5x4. That would get you a different hinge. So this is 4x5. The -632 means two things. It means that it's a steel base hinge with a polished brass plating on it. If it was going to be a solid brass hinge with a polished brass finish, it would be a 605. The 632 specifically means polished brass on steel. Again, we said plain bearing, 5-knuckle, full mortise, wide throw hinge. Okay. There is a link below this video to the cut sheet. Let's go over that now. The one piece of information dimensionally we didn't talk about yet is the thickness of the leaf. A hinge like this is 130 thousandths thick. That's considered standard weight and is normal for a hinge like this. It's also, the 5010 also inherently means standard weight as well. You can see from that cut sheet, if you've opened it, a lot of good information. First of all, the location of the screw holes are called out dimensionally. It's also called template. This is the standard template pattern. And speaking of screw holes, screws are included in a complementary finish. All wood screws, all metal screws. You're also going to see below the dimensional drawing a chart. You can see on the left side 3 columns: steel hinge, brass or bronze hinges, stainless steel hinges. So this being a steel hinge, it'll be in that column, and a wide throw. You'll see that there's the 5010. The 5000, that's just a rectangular hinge. Pardon me, that's a square hinge, like a 4x4. You get into a wide throw, it becomes 5010. Below that, you see that you've got an 8000 part number. That's the same hinge, except that it's a 3-knuckle hinge, is what the Bommer hinge would be for an 8000. Then you've got the ball bearing, the BB. That is where there's going to be a bearing packet here and here. Okay. Below that, you've got LB 8000. LB is a lube bearing, or a maintenance-free sort of concealed bearing construction from Bommer. Moving over to the brass or bronze base material, you see how the part number changes. The 0 at the very end becomes a 1. Everything else remains the same. Stainless steel, that last number becomes a 2. There's going to be instances where people will want a solid brass or solid bronze hinge with their finish. There's no doubt that there is a difference in the finish when it's plated on steel or if it is a solid brass hinge with a brass finish on it. Stainless steel is very common. People are going to want stainless steel because of exposure to corrosive environment, like coastal area. People might be very, very particular about the finish matching exactly, whatever the case might be. You can see a chart there how your part numbers change based on base material, bearing, plain bearing or ball bearing, 5-knuckle, 3-knuckle, wide throw standard. Now, where you would use a wide throw hinge, well, there's a lot of instances where you would use it, and I would like to name a few. The most common is where you have a door that on the pull side of the opening you have unusually thick casing or some sort of wall condition that does not allow the door with a standard hinge to get out and around it, or to operate in such a way that the knuckle is not interfering with the jam or casework. So a 4x5 is 1 inch wider than a 4x4. When the hinge is closed, it'll give you a 1/2 of an inch difference in the axis of pivoting, okay? But it'll give you an additional clearance. That would be used when you've got a, maybe just a thicker than standard casing if they're interior doors as well. You'll also see a situation with a wide throw hinge where you've got the door set deeper into a frame. You might have a condition where I've seen it in a home that's 100+ years old in the South, Florida. 3-story home built in 1880. First floor walls are 18 inches thick. They've got giant, deep frames there, and the doors are pushed in significantly into the opening so that it doesn't look unusual with a 16 inches of exposed jamb before you get to the door. That would be an instance where you would have a wide throw hinge. You could also see a wide throw hinge used in an application where a client the other day had a double door opening, had an opening that was separating corridor to a dining room. In this opening, there were actually 4 leaves, 2 outer leaves, then 2 inner leaves. The 2 inner leaves were hinged to the outer leaves. This client wanted to take the inner leaves, fold them back around the outer leaves, take the outer leaves and fold those back around against the wall. Now, while that would all need to be laid out and taken into conjunction of door thickness and casing thickness, etc., that would be an application where you'd use a wide throw hinge. You could also use it if you had windows. I've seen buildings, brick building with windows, and they were hung on hinges, or even parliament hinges, which is in essence a wide throw hinge, of course. But they want to be able to open the windows not only to 90 degrees, but all the way wrap them around the wall so the shutter hardware can hold the windows in a open position without them flapping. Depending on the thickness of the brick, how deep the windows were set back, you would certainly need a wide throw hinge there as well. Anyway, I'm sure there's a lot of other applications I'm not recalling at this time. Bommer is a full-line manufacturer of all things hinge-related, commercial-wise, and they do an excellent job. Great quality customer service, and their technical support stands on their shoulders. Last thing I'd like to point out to you will be the Bommer logo. It says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to be a distributor of theirs. If you have any questions on the Bommer 5010, it's available in several different finishes as well. If you have any questions on the Bommer 5010-405-632, wide throw hinge, or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.